podcast that is still looking for a name, and if you can come up with one that we like, we will name the show that name. But
and you get a Coach K t-shirt autographed by Coach K himself.
That is true. But bigger things to talk about tonight. Bethel played Grace men and women's. First, with the women's, Grace dropped a competitive game after getting their first victory over Bethel in 30 matches. Grace dropped the second match of the year to Bethel with a score of 73-68.
The best shooting performance I've literally ever seen by a team.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm talking. I mean, I live anyway. I've not seen at the NBA level, at the college level, at the elementary school level. I've never seen in the first half. Bethel shot 8 of 9 from behind the 3-point arc. Ended up shooting 12 of 18 for the game. After cooling off big time, at one point they were 13 of 16.
Yeah.
They're 12 of 15 from the arc. Ended up missing more free throw shots than they did 3-point jumpers, which is not something you see every day.
They were too close. They needed to back up.
Apparently. But yeah, the Lady Lancers really looked bleak for a while, and they were able to storm back and make it a really close competitive game at the end. So credit them for doing that. The Lady Lancers came in ranked at 24 overall, ended up number 3 in the conference, and dropped the game. Had they won, they would have gotten sole position, second place by virtue of a tiebreak game. They shot 46% from the field, 67% from behind the arc, and 75% from the free throw line. So it's going to be tough to win when you have that coming at you.
That is really difficult. And there was even distribution of scoring. Haley Cashier had 15 points. Kiera Gray had 16 points to lead all of Grace's scores. And Danny B added in 14 of her own. And then JJ had 7, Rianne had 6, Jayla had 6, and that sums it up pretty well there.
Yeah, I just want to talk about one player real quick that didn't show up as much on the stat sheet that Justin and I during the broadcast were talking that really made a huge impact, and that's Jayla Starks. And she's done the little things all season long. Really has grown into her role very well. But just looking at the stat sheet to say right now it doesn't really impress you all that much. But you look at, she was able to get 4 rebounds, 1 assist. She is very good at stealing the ball. Only credited for 1 steal on the stat sheet. She came up with all sorts of loose balls, and we were so impressed by the way she played and hustled and never gave up today. So I like to see players like that don't always show up impressively on the stats. And right there, if you watched the game, you would have been impressed by 34.
Yeah, and this is by far the best Grace women's basketball team we've had in our school's history. Currently ranked in the NAIA Top 25 at number 24. They've beat the number 1 team in the nation this year, IWU, their only conference loss. They also beat Bethel when they were previously ranked number 8 in the nation. This team is very good. They've had some highlights on ESPN, the website, which is pretty cool. Just a great season for the Lady Lancers. And they're not quite done yet. They play Taylor this weekend, I believe, at home. And that will be senior night for a really solid group of seniors that have really contributed to the success of Lady Lancer basketball this year.
Yeah, it'll be a great day for them to honor that team. And these girls that have really built this program up from very, very little.
Yeah.
And it starts with Haley Cashier, Danny Boykin, Hannah Lingo, Kiera Gray, and those girls have really, really helped turn this program around. So props to them. Turning over to the double overtime thriller, the guys' game. In our interview with Jake Petey and Greg Miller that you'll see as well, we talk about it a little bit, so we'll try not to repeat ourselves too much.
Yeah.
But honestly, can't remember a more exciting game. For the Lancers, senior night, can't underestimate the performance of Dayton Merrill enough tonight. Really came out with guns blazing, 3 of 3 from behind the 3-point line, and all three of them came in about a 2-minute stretch that really helped propel the Lancers, gave them a lot of momentum. Ended up with 13 points on the night, and then of course Duke Johnson, who started off slowly, ended up with 19 points. Obviously, overtime helps helps
Right.
you,
Yeah.
helps your scoring stats a little bit. But
Sure does.
what can you say about Bruce Grimm Jr.? 35 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Just a complete
5
player.
steals also.
And 5 steals.
And not to be outdone, Greg Miller, 15 rebounds,
Double-double.
15 points, a block, 4 assists. Greg played excellent tonight. And Jake Petey, the other senior, scoring 8 points, grabbing 4 rebounds, and getting an assist also.
Also, 6 of Greg's 15 rebounds came on the offensive glass, which was offensive rebounds really were huge, especially towards the end of overtime, to help Grace kind of seal the win.
They were. And you know what was really keen today, and it was very nice to see that we had some guts. We came in at halftime, we were down 38-29, down by 9 at halftime, and we were down by 10, as many as 12 in the first half, to a young Bethel Pilot team who had nothing to lose, just coming in, shooting pretty well down low, and Michael Mislin was doing a fantastic job down low in the post. And I don't know if it was the senior leadership, but they sure stepped up in the second half. Dayton Merrill, Duke Johnson, Jake Petey, just doing an excellent job of leading the team there and really just leading them on to victory. Against St. Francis Saturday, we saw the same thing. There was some adversity. Grace came back, missed free throws, ended up getting the rebound, winning by 2, and tonight we win by 3, clinching the game off a missed free throw, grabbing the rebound.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a recipe for success that we'd like to repeat.
I wouldn't like to do that against Taylor again, but if we get the win, I'll take it.
This team has shown that they can close and are willing to play through adversity and perform under pressure. Great performance for Grace, and you can't say enough about what Bruce Grimm was able to do today as well, and of course, great to send the seniors off with a win,
Especially over Bethel. We are number 1 in the conference right now. We control our own destiny. Saturday at 3 o'clock, we play in Upland, Indiana against Taylor University. Taylor University, a very scary team to play with the last game of the season. They knocked off IWU tonight by 11, and they're a very good team. They're an experienced team. They've kind of had some ups and downs this season. They were expected to do a little better in the rankings.
Who hasn't had ups and downs this
season? Everybody has.
Yeah,
everybody
it's
has.
Been a crazy year. Well, welcome to the second edition of the Lancer Athletic Podcast right here. Will Thrasher, Chase Ringler with you. It's about midnight. We're still riding the high of the Bethel game, and
it was huge.
What an unbelievable game it was. We have senior Jake Petey, who was honored on senior night today, and joining us as well as Randy Sturck, who's made winning the track athlete of the week pretty much a weekly thing. He's won 2 out of the 3 last weeks, and if we're losing our voices, it's because we were at the Bethel game.
We were yelling quite loud. Double overtime will do that to you, though.
100-97, the Lancers hang on and win this one. So let's go ahead and start right off with that. Jake, obviously senior night, you guys are very excited to play your last home game, regular season home game here, and what's it like, especially to go out winning against Bethel in double overtime?
It's a great feeling. I know all the seniors wanted it, and the whole team wanted it, and we knew it had big implications because we love to beat Bethel, but also in the conference and with Indiana Wesleyan losing tonight, we kind of control our destiny now. So this is a huge win for us.
Yeah, just let me right into my next question. For those of you that don't know, Indiana Wesleyan, Taylor did knock them off earlier this evening as well. So Lancers now back in that number 1 position at the top of the MCC, and if they win on Saturday, they have the sole possession of the conference championship for the first time in a very long time. So very, very exciting for that as well. Now talk a little bit about just the flow of the game, because in the first half you guys were shooting something like 21%, ended up shooting 61% in the second half in overtime. What do you think turned it around for you guys offensively?
Well, they came out in a 2-3 zone, and that was something that we had not really practiced for. We thought they were going to play us completely different defensively, so I think that threw us off a little bit. But at halftime, we regrouped, and we started to just kind of trust each other more and more, and I think our ball movement was a lot better in the second half. And Duke Johnson and Bruce really, took over. I think that's huge for us when they do that.
And now, Coach K mentioned this at the senior night tribute before the game. If we do make it to Branson, which right now it looks like we're have a pretty good chance, you'll be the first guy ever to go 5 times because you're able to the red shirt. So talk about what Branson is like, and then what do you think will be the key for you guys to go far in the tournament?
Man, first off, that'd be just an honor, and I'm not sure how much of that is me, but I've been surrounded by a lot of great players. I've come in with a lot of talent at Grace, but yeah, if we can make it to Branson, which looks like maybe we will now, there's nothing like it. The atmosphere is amazing because it's unlike the NCAA tournament. It all takes place at one venue over a 5-day period, so all the games are in one spot. The atmosphere is just amazing, and it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of playmakers, this is a question that we like to ask the guests of our podcast show. You are on a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and you have to pick 2 Grace College faculty members to join you on the floor. Who would you pick and why?
Well, that's a great question, Will.
Thank you.
I think the first one has to be Dr. Johnson for an obvious reason, is that he surrounds himself with sport, and he's a competitor at heart, and I love that about him. And then I think someone who's underrated as a professor would be Prof. DeYoung
Yes.
in the science department for 2 reasons. One, I think he's got the build of a basketball player. He's long and thin, and I think he's got a nice jump shot.
Yeah.
And 2, he brings that experience factor to you, which in 3-on-3 tournaments, it's huge. It really is. That you can go into a tough atmosphere and compete, and I think he's got that. And those are my 2.
We're going to turn it over to Randy now, a sport that gets talked about slightly less than basketball, but you really had a lot of success in indoor track recently. Talk a little bit about, I know you like to brag about yourself, but but talk a little bit about what you've been able to do the past couple of weeks.
Well, I know indoor season is going on now. There's still snow out, so we're not outdoor yet. But I've been able to run some pretty good races. I actually, for all my individual events, I haven't lost yet, so that's pretty cool, I think. I've ran the mile, all 3 meets so far, and last meet I won and ended up qualifying A standard for NAI Nationals. So that was pretty exciting. I'm excited about that.
And for those of you that don't know track very well, mile's a tough race, and Randy was just barely away from qualifying your first 2 times, but it's kind of tough to shave off those last seconds at the end of the race.
I missed it by less than a half a second the first 2 weeks, and so I was just not going to mess around this week and just go for it and make sure to give myself plenty of room to the last lap or so, and just to make sure I get it. And then I ended up getting it by 5 seconds, and that was a personal best for me.
The 4x4 relay team also broke the school record this last week.
Yeah, I'm not on that relay, but it was pretty cool to watch them run. They were close the last couple of weeks. I don't think we ran it the week before, but 2 weeks ago they were like a second off or something like that, and they got under there. So it's pretty cool. The track team's been doing really well. I think we've set records in quite a few events, at least 4 or 5 right off the top of my head that I can think of, school records. So that's pretty cool.
What goes through your mind before a race?
Oh man, I'm just a bundle of nerves, really. Sometimes I'm trying to stay pretty relaxed, but I'm just kind of freaking out on the inside. My stomach's going all crazy, and then once the gun goes off, though, usually that relaxes you a little bit.
But I know that you played basketball in high school as well.
I did.
And I've played in some 3-on-3 tournaments in your day. If you had to pick 2 Grace faculty members to join you on court, who would they be?
Let's see. Wow. First off, I would go with Dr. Jeffries. He teaches chemistry, and I know he's taught just about every science class in the past 30 or 40 years that he's been here. He's got he's got a good pedigree. His grandson is Lucas Gross from Warsaw High School,
Sure.
star there. And I think his son-in-law was Mr. Basketball, and I know he's told stories of how he balled it up with Coach K back in the day, and telling me of getting his fingers caught in the rim and all that,
Yeah.
jazz. So it's, I think he would be a good. He's more of a slasher type. But and then my other guy, I don't know. Can we take Coach Bloom? Because
someone
is
took
that-
Coach K last week, so I guess that's fair
yeah,
game.
I'd take Coach Bloom because
That's a good pick.
he's just a man among boys out there when he's on the court, and there's no stopping him.
Both teams, great choice. Now, this is the part that I enjoy. We get to pick the winner. So if Jake Petty, Dr. Johnson, and Dr. DeYoung take on Randy Stirk, Dr. Jeffries, and Scott Bloom, who wins?
I would have to go with Stirk's team over here. Scott Bloom is just a handful. Stirk is faster than everyone else on the floor, just run around in circles. So I would just have to give the edge to them, even though we have the basketball player over
Right.
here.
Well, and I'm going to take Jake's team
Okay.
for a couple of reasons. One, they do have more they do have the current basketball player for the Lancers, and more they have a Hall of Famer as well to counteract the Hall of Fame Scott Bloom on the other end, and talk about a pedigree. I mean, being a Lancer Hall of Famer is something that's tough to beat, and I really think that Dr. DeYoung could stay in front of Dr. Jeffries, and not many can. And so I think that he would be able to play pretty good defense.
He does.
Well, we appreciate you hanging with us, and keep on thinking of names for the podcast, and watch the Facebook page for more updates, information, fun facts, pictures, jokes, etc. We appreciate you watching, and have a great night.